welcome everyone. We are here. We made it. I found the right button to press to launch
Yay!
this dropship. Welcome to our first episode of our Mechwarrior Destiny actual play. I've been looking forward to this for months, actually, been planning this. And joining me today is, well, I should say myself. I am Clifton of the Shadowcasters Network, also known as Mr. Johnson of the Ecology Podcast. And I am joined today by Trev Farlander, who's playing Ian Warden. Welcome, Trev.
Hey. Glad to be here.
You may welcome Trav's voice from Pink Mohawk Edition. And you've got some other stuff going on this week, don't you? Why don't you just take a moment to talk about that quick?
I do. Yeah, happy to. We had a session 0 over on Raritan's Twitch channel. That was last night. That is in anticipation of a 24-hour stream on Saturday for benefiting Extra Life. It'll be Shadowrun 6e playing 1e content. So 80s styles with 2020s mechanics. So look out for that. I'm doing a little bit of recording for some shows that aren't going to come out until 2021. I can't talk too much about those, but listen out for me on Pink Mohawk Edition, which should have new episodes for much longer, and also on the Dice Fiends podcast.
Oh, good. I thought when you were talking about stuff not coming out to 2021, the way things are going, you might have been meaning the next episode of Pink Mohawk Edition. So,
oh, I might be, but
just throwing a little shade their way. Hello, friendly shade.
Well, Mac.
Yeah. And also joining us today is Cade, playing John Texas Crow. Welcome, and it's the first time we've had you on the Shadowcasters Network. We've kind of been chatting about mechs and stuff on Twitter over the years. I'd like to introduce yourself and tell people what you're about.
Yeah, so I'm Cade. I'm playing John Texas Crow on this, and I get to exist on the Twitch world or on the Twitter world as Met Texas and enjoy bringing some BattleTech goodness to everyone's life in that format, in that venue. And I'm excited to be here and playing one of the universes that I absolutely love.
Yeah, happy to have you here. Excited to be playing. And I think you're probably the most expert in BattleTech lore among all of us here, probably. So, veteran, I would guess.
I'm probably at least older than anybody else here. So, the miles take some with it.
And also joining us tonight is Ava Rogers as Finn. Welcome, Ava.
Hello.
Happy to have you here. Ava plays Shadowrun with me sometimes. As far as stuff that's been published, it would be the Ghouls campaign, which is an Arcology podcast patron-specific bonus campaign. So only patrons would be familiar with her voice from that one. But why don't you introduce yourself and tell us what else you're up to? Because it's a fair bit.
Yeah.
It's a good list at this point.
Do we have that much time?
Well, make it an abbreviated list then, I guess, if you have to.
I've truncated it. There's one other stream I think that I'm not on that is no longer happening anymore. So there's at least one less. I am Ava Rogers. You can find me on Twitter at thatnerdywriter if I can speak tonight. Where I do a lot of my writing stuff and whatnot. However, I'm also on a couple other streams. Currently on Monday nights, I'm on a stream where we're playing Dresden Files game with a relatively new system over on, what is their Twitch? Rem Alternus? Master of Rem.
Ah, yes.
That's what it is. Twitch.tv/Master of Rem, R-E-M. On alternating Tuesday nights with this one, I'm over at twitch.tv/Lucas G Variety playing Dungeon World on, oh dear lord, is that this Friday or next Friday? I'm also on Lucas G Variety playing a D&D 5e campaign where we're doing the, oh goodness, what campaign is the fourth on the Citadel right now. And that one, the next game on that is, oh, that's bi-weekly Thursdays, my apologies, not Fridays. And I still can't remember if that's this Thursday or next.
Hey, we have Ririton in the chat. Welcome. We were just talking about your upcoming stream with Trav here. And Matt, your Shadowrun tabletop simulator overlay, or rather, not overlay, but room setup. It just looks so cool. You probably have the coolest looking Shadowrun stream that I've seen. So glad to have you here joining us for some Mechwarrior stuff. Let's take a quick look at the chat before we move on and dive into the actual campaign here. Let's see here. Someone was asking if the music is a Prism Shard original. Yes, all of the music that's going to be in the background is going to be our soundtrack today is music that has been created by Prism Shard, which is me. That's just my music artist name. So I was delighted to see that I had enough tracks to fill everything out together that were just mine. So it makes the copyright stuff a lot easier when it's your own music that you wrote. So
Why did I
Amen.
not know that?
not know what. Oh,
The Prism Shard view. This is the reason I was completely unaware of this.
I'm very secretive about it, so I could understand.
I started getting suspicious when I kept on never seeing Clifton and Prism Shard in the same room at the same time.
I guess I just haven't paid that much attention.
All right, so before we move on to the game, I do want to talk about this being a charity stream. This is a stream to raise money for charity. This is the first episode. We're going to have a bunch more, somewhere in the neighborhood of 6 to 8 total, depending on how the plot goes. Should be going through the end of this year. Let's see, it's going to be 2 weeks before our next episode, which will be same time, same day of the week. And then after that, I think we go to weekly episodes until we decide that we're done. We might have a gap in there somewhere.
Posted
But
in the chat. We'll probably be doing bi-weekly for a moment because I have that. My Dungeon World game doesn't have a set ending, and it kind of we keep missing games, or it keeps the GMs like, no, we've got a couple more games left in this plot, and so.
Okay, well, we've gone over the
Plan
schedule
for
and got it
bi-weekly.
figured out, but it's bi-weekly for now, and then we'll go to weekly as soon as we can for that. But yeah, as a number of episodes will be about 6 to 8. We are raising money for charity. Any super chat donations will be passed right along to World Builders. Through us, World Builders is an excellent charity that helps out a lot around the world with, let's see, Heifer International and a variety of other not handy, a variety of other charities, all of which are really good ones where the proceeds actually go directly to help people instead of, say, the CEO of a nonprofit's spare jet or something. And yes, to answer your question, Ted, the dulcimer is behind me right here. Yes, that is a hammer dulcimer. And I have a keytar and a map of bar save. I had to decorate the wall behind me before I did more streaming, so. All right, so yeah, any super chat donations are donations to World Builders, or just go to worldbuilders.org and make a donation yourself. It's a great cause. And we're just trying to use this stream as a way to send some attention their direction so they can help people. And thank you very much, James Palmer, with the $15 donation to start things off, a super chat.
Nice.
I appreciate it. I'm going to read
Thanks,
this off.
Palmer.
It says, "This is for charity, so let's get this charity started. You guys rock, and good luck. Let's build the world." All right, so let's talk a little bit about, introduce our Mechwarrior Destiny campaign and characters just a little bit, but then I want to kind of jump right into the action.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'd like each of you to just do a really, really brief kind of bio-level intro of your characters. We'll start with Ava this time and go around. What are you
I
playing
asked not
today?
to call on me first. No, that's fine.
And I honored that for the first round, but yeah. It's
I
going
guess you
back
did.
the other way.
She could spend a plot point here, right?
To
I
not
haven't even
go
handed
first.
those out yet, so no, you're stuck with this order, I'm afraid.
All right. Well, I am playing a Seraphina, aka Finn Dulsker. She has grown up here. She's very smart. That's what she is. Smart and fast, and hates working for the. Oh goodness! I should have. Words. Hates working, taking care of the mech for. What is the word I'm looking for?
For the Baron's garrison here.
Garrison. That is the word that was not coming to mind. She hates working for the garrison, but must.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a minute here.
Yeah.
Cade, why don't you tell us about John Texas Crow?
John Texas Crow, he's dispossessed, he's dishonored, he wrecked a mech while he was at Sarna Military Academy. And so he doesn't have a place with his mercenary unit that he grew up with, the Waco Rangers. And so now he's living off his charm in the periphery, trying to stay one step ahead of his vengeful ex-girlfriend, Hermione Gould. And he's looking to rejoin the Waco Rangers and sing some honky tonk, and maybe he can find a mech along the way.
All right, and then Trev, tell us about Ian Warden.
Ian hails from a minor noble house from the periphery. They've been out there since around the time of the First Succession War. Various swings of fortune have happened. His family has maintained a fairly comfortable level of wealth. Ian's a younger sibling. He doesn't figure in the family line of succession, so off he went to serve in the military of a smaller border state that the noble family had inroads with. They found he excelled as a mech warrior. Currently, he's pursuing rumors of a cache of old technology rumored to be from the Star League era, which is what brought him out to the place that we're going to find our mech warriors now.
Yes, and that would be a planet out in the periphery, far outside the general politics and, relative wealth and powerful economy of the inner sphere. The periphery is an area of civilized space that is, not as well plugged into most of the rest of civilization and with fewer resources. A lot more lawless out there. And this world is actually one such place that is, quite lawless. There are a lot of people who live here, and the actual planet was a partially completed Star League terraforming process that caused numerous small but very rich ore veins to concentrate, but also cause all sorts of strangeness with the planet's ecology and geology. It's a bit unstable, but stable enough for people to live there. Not stable enough for it to be a popular place for people to live. And the Baron who owns and runs the place is little more than a bandit warlord. The town in which this begins is called Medgar's Folly. It was originally settled by a fundamentalist Christian sect led by Issachar Medgar, originally named Zion's Glory, but after 5 years of famine and sickness, most of the original settlers abandoned the town and the sect. The hardscrabble town was referred to as Medgar's Folly after Medgar renounced his own beliefs and fled off-world, and it was only after he left that ore deposits near the town were discovered to be mined, and the town was actually quite prosperous. That said, in a just world, it would be a prosperous town, but instead it is horribly and brutally exploited by the Baron's forces who have left a garrison here. The garrison is led by Hamilton Groller, dubbed Ham and Cheese by the locals, not within earshot of him. But he is currently out of town on some sort of unknown errand or mission, along with some of his nastier cronies. And most of the garrison personnel are out on patrols, keeping things in line, making sure the mining operations are running, things like that. So this is basically one of the rare opportunities that the group of three people have chosen to take to sneak in and somehow access the Star League cache or facility whose entrance is somewhere within the garrison's base. Somehow gain access to it and use whatever you can find there to get out of this life and perhaps even help the townsfolk of Medgar's Folly. Rather than go into a big planning session or how you all met, we're going to go with a little bit more of an in media res here and cut to the action. But let me go ahead and change up the music. I have too many tabs open. It's been a while since I've streamed. All right.
Speaking of music, it seems like there might be some issue with that, just minor. In the chat, they're saying it's kind of in and out, like it's being picked up by a mic and not on stream.
That's strange.
Oh, I'm feeling this music.
Yeah, we need some sneaky music here. Let me just make sure it's not being filtered by something in OBS here. Give me a sec. There is a noise suppression filter. Where did that come from? Hopefully
Noise
that was
suppression.
the culprit. I've removed it.
Fingers crossed.
So yeah, thanks chat for helping me out with that. It's always weird doing streams where you can't really monitor yourself well in real time, or at least not with my setup. Okay, before we get started, let's talk a little bit about plot points. You each have 4 plot points to start the game, and feel free to spend them however you like. You will get extra plot points when you do something that I think is plot point worthy, or whenever I spend a plot point. I've decided that as the GM, I get unlimited plot points, but the flip side of that is whenever I spend a plot point, each of you gets one of your own. So I'm essentially giving out 3 by spending 1, so I gotta be careful in how I do that, but I have an unlimited supply.
You would give yourself an unlimited supply.
It's my prerogative as the GM.
They're saying the music is still a little loud now.
A little loud now.
Said
Okay.
lower it by about 50%.
Okay, thank you. Let's see here.
I've got a computer with, so I could just keep an eye on the chat and make
Yeah,
sure I
thanks
don't
for
look
that.
too horrible.
There's too many different screens for me to follow to pick up on all of that. So, okay, backing the music down by about 50%. Hope that works. Let us know if it doesn't, and thanks for the help with that. All right, other than plot points, though, I want to remind you that you each have edge, at least one. Maybe some of you have more. Edge is pretty powerful. You can spend a point of edge to reroll 1 or both of your dice, or you can force me to reroll 1 or both of my dice. I don't have edge. Technically, some of the NPCs might, but I probably won't use it against you. Probably.
Much.
Probably.
All right, I'm going to start this off with the commander's call I've written for this contract brief. The jumped-up bandits who enforce the Baron's tyranny and Medgar's folly don't know that their own base contains a hidden entrance to a Star League facility. They've pushed the people of this town around for too long already, and now it's time to take something back from them. One of you has information about the Star League facility, including hints that it might contain 1 or more battle mechs in pristine condition, but who knows what lost tech might be discovered within. This moment represents a unique opportunity. The garrison's commander left town with the staff for an unknown event, and most of the soldiers are out on patrol. If you can sneak in without raising an alarm, you should be able to access the Star League facility. That just might be the key to your freedom, maybe even for the whole town. Now, your player characters that you've created start with mechs with your hardware points, but you don't actually have those. This is the story about how you acquired your mechs, and players will earn 5 XP for completing this mission. Your objectives are to sneak into the garrison base without triggering an alarm that would call in the soldiers out on patrol, to locate the entrance to the Star League facility and gain entrance, and steal yourself some battle mechs. Who wants to go first? I'll set the stage once more here. You've arrived at the garrison base, and you need to find a way to sneak in. The base is built into the side of a mountain and is mostly underground. Getting past the suspicious and often cruel guards watching the entrance is going to be tricky. There's a huge bay door large enough for mechs and tanks to use, and several smaller doors for personnel or utility vehicles. Once inside the base, it should be much easier to sneak around. It's not very well organized or maintained, and something of a maze. What do you do?
Well,
Rather well more guarded than I thought it would be, to be honest.
I want a mech,
don't panic.
and I don't want to die trying it.
Don't panic. Just give it. Checks the time. 5 minutes. Jameson's going to go on break, and that door will have 1 less guard.
One
All
less.
right, we'll play it your way.
Using her special effect and insider knowledge of the base.
Okay. You spend a plot
She
point for that
works here.
then?
She knows these people. Yes, I'm going to spend a plot point, and that door is going to be slightly less guarded because he likes to take a smoke break in 5 minutes.
Well, your timer's a little bit off because Jameson's a little bit eager for a smoke break and steps away in about 2 minutes. Leaving
Jameson
Belker,
making me a liar.
leaving Belker there on his own in the guard post.
All right, I've got this. Belker owes me one, or at least he's going to. So I'm going to spend a plot point and go back in time when we were a couple of days ago. We were. I know he likes to play poker, and I've got my set of poker cards, and well, I'm going to take him to the table, knowing that we were trying to break into this place, and I'm going to try to beat him heads up at poker. And if I can win, then he's going to owe me, and the debt's going to be canceled by walking away when it's time.
All right. Well, let's see how your poker game went.
Okay, I'm going to call this.
And
What's a good roll? Charisma,
let's see. It would be a
or just a
skill
straight up luck?
plus a. Well, since this is the first dice roll of the game, let's talk about how we do those. Dice rolls in this game you roll 2d6, add them together, and then you add a bonus, which is usually an attribute plus a number of skill ranks. There's a few exceptions, but let's see. As far as is there a gaming skill? Maybe Streetwise? Do you have that? You can pick
I
the
have.
skill you want that you think fits the situation the best, but I think that one jumps out to me a bit.
I don't have streetwise. I have acting or a performance skill, which is kind of his cool trait, and that's kind of what I was thinking. Would that's kind of how he gets by in life.
Okay, and acting is what would cover, say, con artistry in the game. So let's do that. This is going to be, I'm going to say moderately difficult because these lazy guards play a lot of poker. So I'm going to be rolling 3 dice against you.
Okay.
And you'll be rolling 2 dice.
And so
charisma plus acting.
So I have a rating on this skill of 3, and I have an attribute at charisma of 3. So I'll be rolling the 2d6 and adding 6 to that.
There you go.
Sound good?
Yep.
All right. I roll boxcars. I got a hard 8. So 8 plus 6, 14.
All right, I got a total of 11 against you. So he plays a few good rounds of poker, but you have the upper hand, probably with a couple of dirty tricks that might not necessarily be quite game legal, but that never comes up in the conversation. And you sort of got that favor in the bag for him. So snapping back to the present, you've gotten that preparation, and what we're doing is borrowing a rule from Blades in the Dark, where you use a flashback mechanic in order to set something up in the past, but still requires a dice roll and may have consequences in the future. I love grabbing stuff out of Blades in the Dark and using them in other contexts.
It's a great
It's good to
system.
use some plot points.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a little something you might not find in the Mechwarrior Destiny book that we're doing here tonight, is a little bit of that.
But
So-
you should in the future, Catalyst.
So with that, you've got that's I'm forgetting the guy's name already.
Belker.
Thank you. That's Belker by himself now in the guard station, the only person watching the front. Fairly complacent, and he owes you one big. Seems like all you need to do is capitalize on that. So what do you do next?
So I walk out into out of the shadows into kind of the half light, and I look up at him. Got my black Stetson hat, and I kind of look up at him a little bit and give him a look and stare at him for a moment, and then I just nod to him.
Belker sort of like startles as he sees you. See him reach down for his rifle, and like he sees that it's you, and he gives you the suspicious look, like he's thinking about maybe shooting you anyway or giving you some crap. And then
I'm gonna.
Sorry, go ahead.
I just kind of put my hand over on my laser pistol, and kind of just give him a look like, you owe me. You owe me.
He just doesn't say anything. He just kind of scrunches up his face, like he puts the rifle back down, and like turns his chair to where he's not viewing your direction, and like pulls out a magazine.
I turned to Finn in Paladin. I think the door's open.
Casual.
Nicely done.
Walk casual.
Okay, so
I
think
work here.
There's Jameson is still in there somewhere. There's probably some other people lurking around, a few cameras up, and there's also the fact that maybe you don't want to discuss the whole whether or not it should just be you or you and some friends arrangement with Belker. So I'm gonna want some sort of a stealthy or sneaky or clever narration from one of the other two of you to get in without causing more of a ruckus.
Oh, I can definitely stealth my way in here.
Okay, Ava, yeah, you work here as having been sort of drafted into maintaining one of the mechs that they never let you pilot, even for diagnostic purposes. So you're known here, and you know your way around pretty well. So you can sort of time things or sneak in. So why don't you just go and describe as you lead the team into the base, hopefully successfully.
Yeah, she ushers them in, pulls open the door, kind of leading the way, pausing at corners, start just making sure that people are here who are supposed to be, and there's nobody here besides us that aren't supposed to be, before she turns any corners or any doors. She knows where cameras are, so she stop, skirt around this side of the corridor.
What skill are you going to be using?
I have the stealth skill.
That sounds perfect. I'm going to call this just
see.
a fairly easy one, because you've set this up already with the smoke break and the guard looking the other way. So I'm only rolling 2 dice against you. So you're going to roll 2 dice and add your stealth plus reflexes.
Perfect. Stealth plus reflexes is going to be a total of 5. So 2d6 plus 5 gets me to 13. All
right, I rolled a 5 and a 3. No bonus on this roll for me. It's just up against my straight dice roll. So you definitely succeed. Go ahead. You kind of described it already. You slip on into the place. You guys get right in the door and turn right, and you're about to turn left on a corner or T intersection, but you hear some coughing around there as Jameson's starting to finish up his cigarette. Mm-hmm. So you turn right there instead of left and start maneuvering through the place. And man, this complex is a maze. Like, additional rooms have been kind of hastily constructed in here with drywall put up. There's also just piles of stuff. A lot of it's just been taken from the locals over the years for this reason or that. Some of it's just been piled up because they took it just to take it. Other stuff is just horribly disorganized. There's a lot of messes. Nobody here likes to clean, and they don't really keep the discipline to really do it properly. So they tend to use slave labor from the town, like they do for everything else that they don't want to do themselves. Mm-hmm. Also, it's fairly poorly lit. A lot of the light bulbs aren't replaced for a while, or the settings are a bit low, or in some cases power conduits are starting to fail, and there's flickering light. It gives you plenty of cover to maneuver around, but it's really easy to get disoriented. How are you going to go about finding what you're looking for? Well, Trav, Ian Warden has some information on the Star League cache and maybe some codes that should get you in, or a few details, but nothing so specific as where this door is going to be.
Finn, where's the oldest construction in this place? The oldest wall?
Oldest is What would make sense for that? I don't know what the oldest is. I just work here. I know how to get around.
Are they using?
I
any
know
sort of
where everything's
storage? Or
She kind of like gestures around.
I know. Old retaining walls, dust. Where's the biggest collection of dust hidden?
Follow me. Finds the farthest, deepest, darkest corner of this place because it's mostly underground. So I mean, and there's some corner somewhere nobody ever goes to because there's nothing important there.
That's probably exactly where it should be.
Okay.
Yeah, these guys have been sitting on this cache, and they have no idea where it is. It's got to be there.
Yeah.
Well, it better be. Because I don't have a good reason for why you're here with me if we're found.
And moving through the place, you definitely get the sense of age here. That there is a lot of it that's older than the rest, but most of the base is older than any of the construction in town. This itself seems to be likely to be a Starlink facility of some kind. What it was originally for, you can't really tell. It's been repurposed for other use for centuries now. But as you start moving through the dingy, dark, kind of industrial, metallic, and stockpiled mess of the place, you move over to move past where the mech bays are, which is normally pretty silent and heavily guarded, but there's not many people around right now. And this is where Finn would actually realistically be able to make a case that, hey, I just should be here because somebody told me to be here. But you don't run into anybody. It's pretty dark and quiet because most of the mech bays are actually currently empty. Ham and Cheese, Captain Hammond is taking his mech out along with several of his other lance mates, the nastier mech warriors who work right under him. The Locust has actually...
Finn's gonna pause, just do a quick count, see what all mechs are there and what's not.
There's only two
Just
mechs.
get a good idea of who's here.
There's only two mechs left. There's that Phoenix Hawk that you've been stripping parts off for years to keep the Locust running. And then there's the Locust itself, which actually...
Perfect.
They had you doing some maintenance on, and you hadn't been allowed to finish it. They sent you home and told you not to come back to work because they didn't want you around for whatever business they're doing. And its fusion reactor is currently cold, as well as the Phoenix Hawks. Like not full cold, like that would take a really long time to start up, but I mean it would take probably a fair amount of skill to get the thing powered up quickly without causing bigger problems. Fusion reactors can be touchy, especially when they're old and running on mostly jury-rigged parts.
It's a miracle I've
Finn,
been
is
able to
that
keep
the-
it running this long.
Finn, is that the Phoenix Hawk you were telling me about?
Yeah.
No, not much on the eyes, but looks real good to me.
Don't you talk bad about her.
Oh,
She's
I'm not
a
talking
bad
bad about her at all. I'd take her to the honky tonk.
Don't talk about her like that.
Few things.
There's something really odd about the back of it. It's got these sort of backpack style jump jets, but these ones are like really unusually shaped. Definitely not stock. They've been welded and attached onto it. I mean, now that you're getting a closer look at it, go ahead and give me if you have like a tech skill for mechs. Oh, that would be Finn for sure, but anybody else can
I was gonna
roll
say
it
the
too.
technician skill.
Yeah.
That's what that skill is called.
Yeah, just give me a quick technician roll. Technician plus int.
Yeah. Finn as well.
You've been working
Yeah,
on
I'll
this,
do
it.
so you probably know this. You may not have mentioned this detail. I'm more curious if character names here.
John, Texas.
Yes, thank you. John Texas
Ian and John.
happens to recognize what he's looking at.
So I rolled an 8, so my intelligence is 1, so that'd be a 9 total.
Okay, yeah, so even without the tactical training expertise, you take a quick look at those you're like, those don't seem stock, and then you recognize them from other images you've seen of another well-known, iconic, some might say, mech of the Inner Sphere. It looks like the original jump jets, or two of the original jump jets on this Phoenix Hawk have been stripped out, or maybe they failed or got shot off or something, but they've been replaced with jump jets that have been taken from an urban mech.
Jesus, you have to light those things with a fuse to get them to work?
I mean,
Sometimes.
theoretically, they should have the same amount of thrust, but it's,
I turn and look sideways over at Finn and say, "What did you do to that thing?"
I keep her running, in spite of her pilot.
Yeah, running, not boosting, obviously. Jeez.
Wow. That's definitely not stock.
All right. I'm done with the sightseeing. I'm looking deeper into this bay, like farther in. This is going to be one of the oldest areas, and honestly, if there are any other mechs in this area, they're going to have a way out, which means they've got to have a door big enough or a wall that covers over a door that was big enough to let them in and out.
Okay.
Plus, probably a machine shop you guys haven't caught yet, or else
So
it would be a little more obvious.
yeah, so go ahead and give me a skill roll then. I'm thinking navigation, perception, or investigation would be most appropriate, but let me know what you're going with.
Well, I got none of those, but I got protocol. That's about as close as I can get.
Protocol's not going to help you with this. These people don't seem
I
to
can
be very
toss you a
concerned with
perception.
protocol. This is the
Yeah.
opposite of that spectrum.
I'd say just try a raw perception then. So
Okay.
it's about a 9.
All right. Well, I made this a fairly difficult test, but I rolled like crap. So a 9's going to be enough to get you by.
Hey.
You sort of find what you think is the far back wall of this place, as far back as it goes into the mountain, as far as the excavation goes. You can't be sure because there's these heavy metal alloy walls. But as you sort of move along and trace along it, you start moving through the back area of this facility, become more and more certain you've sort of found this back wall. So it just should be a matter of following this until you can see signs of the door, and then you're starting to move up into move close to where you've got to be getting close. But then Ava, you realize he's actually starting to get close to where the rec area is for the soldiers here at the garrison. There's always some people goofing off there. They don't let you go there unless you're bringing somebody their beer or something. But it's a fairly large room. And it seems like he's heading close to there. There's a pretty good chance that he might run into trouble.
Shit! Wait! Stop!
Okay. Oh, what's up?
You hear
The rec
raucous
area is that
laughter
way.
up ahead, as if someone bursts out laughing from around the corner in the next chamber. It sounds like whoever else responded to the laughter says something sharp and angry, but you can't quite make out the words from over here. But yeah, there's definitely some people up ahead. As you creep up and take a peek, you can see kind of through this little panel area where there's some thick plexiglass. It's pretty foggy, but you can make out some details of the room up ahead, and there are some people lounging around. There's a bar in there, a few sofas, a trid set or holovid set, but the back wall where there's a couple of rather mangled looking dart machines or dartboard setups. It looks like they've thrown knives and fired bullets and lasers at it, as well as thrown darts. But propped up against that, you can see what they must have mistaken for a wall is this huge sealed bay door. That's gotta be it. The panel for it's got to be behind one of those dartboards or something. Yeah, there's at least 2, maybe more goons in here.
Oh, frick.
I
We
don't
want
seem
to
be
do this
aware
the
of
hard
you.
way or the easy way?
Never go in loud if you don't have to.
What's your definition of hard?
I'm worried about the definition of easy on this one.
Well, I didn't exactly bring any of my freaking gas grenades with me. Oh wait, it's because I don't have any.
All right. Wait. Okay.
Are these guys techs or are they mech warriors?
Neither.
Uh,
Infantry type goons.
All right.
yeah. The in-betweeners
Ben,
point here.
what are the odds that somebody would send a delivery of beer to these knuckleheads and they'd need to haul it in from the front?
I mean,
Let me ask the question another way. What are the odds that they'd believe it if someone told them that was happening?
I've never seen it happen. Okay, no, look, listen. Okay, power in here is shit. If I can get to, like, a power junction or something, I can probably, well, at least mess with the lights in there and then sow some little bit of chaos. Or maybe they'll just, okay, they're not going to go elsewhere. I'm not going to put too much hope in that, but I could throw them off. They might leave.
It's a start.
They can't
they
see
leave,
their
they're
dartboards anymore.
I could always go in and see if I can bluff my way and see if they'll believe that I can order them around. Is there any uniforms or anything from these? Do you know if they have an equipment place where they keep uniforms? I could put on something to maybe bluff with them.
Yeah, where's their locker room?
Finn, you do know where that is, where their locker room, their armory, their living quarters. You haven't really been a lot around in those areas, but you've been around them enough to kind of know where things are, at least. You do happen to know if you were to show up in the room and say, hey, there's a delivery of beer for you, they would say, then go get it for us.
Yeah, that's what I assumed. First thought was they'd send me to go get it.
And if anybody but you gets spotted in here, like this deep into the base, it's gonna really send up a red flag. That said, as far as monkeying with the tech here, you know your way around pretty well. You know how to maintain this base probably better than anybody else who lives and works here.
And it chafes her that they don't. The flickering lights might be helping us tonight, but they need to get it fixed. Okay, so yeah, she's gonna explain all that. Like, okay, the armory is here. The living quarters are back that way. But you don't belong here. And
I should say they all know each other. Everyone knows each other well enough here. This is a small town, a small garrison near a small town. There's probably no passing yourselves off as one of them, except from a distance.
let me see what I can do with the lights. And she like tosses him she's got a military communicator that she swiped at some point or was broken and she fixed but didn't tell them. So she can patch into their communications. She's like, here, forewarning, if they've sounded an alarm or anything, we'll know. Let me find that junction box.
Yep. As you turn out, you hear a voice, actually sounds pretty familiar. It's Belker. Jameson, how long are you gonna take in that smoke break? I've gotta pee. I'll keep your pants on. I'll be right out there. And then it goes quiet for a while.
Yep, I'm gonna find a junction box or something of the sort.
All right, you look around, you can see where the conduits are running and trace one to, yep, there's an access panel just a few meters to your left.
Awesome.
It's really hard to get open because it's kind of rusted, closed, hasn't been opened in a long time. But you're able to
well,
get
she carried the toolkit. We're gonna get WD-40.
sort of feeling a
Or
certain
whatever
sense of
it's now.
satisfaction of finally I'm getting a chance to maintain something that they wouldn't let me mess with, but here we go. I'm gonna do this right. And it opened up, and there's the panel there with all the electrical wires and chips and switches and gizmos.
Yeah.
That's the technical term. Go ahead and give me a int plus tech roll, and what are you trying to do?
Well, most primary concern is if we can cut the power to the rec room, because power here is weird anyway. It wouldn't be out of
Cut
the
the power to the
ordinary.
rec room. Got it. So that's going to be kind of difficult to isolate and not, cause to have it happen the way you want it to. Somebody roll 3 dice against you.
Okay. And I am rolling 2d6 plus Technician 4, Int 3, so plus 7.
Probably got
14.
this. I rolled a 2, a 3, and a 3. So yeah, you're 14. You're like,
I rolled a 5 and a 2.
We'll connect these here and twist that, and then, well, why don't we?
I
just
could have done
pull-
that.
Why don't we just pull this fuse out? They won't need that anymore. And you're
Pocket that.
Hey, I didn't do that. It's dark in here. Hey, no problem. I got those night vision goggles. All right, fine. Then you go find the shit. They sent the tech girl back to town, didn't they? I'm sure it's just a switch somewhere. Let's go find it. And you can hear them kind of bumbling around and bumping into each other, and a few more like glasses are knocked over. Here's some glass break, and somebody swears, and you think they like have a little brief shoving match for a little while before finally they start wandering out.
They're already drunk. They're not even gonna know what they're looking at, even if they find the junction.
Yeah, that was a pretty good move. They don't seem to want to hang around in a boring dark room.
Yeah.
That's one of the few ways to get the drunk goons off of their asses, and that they've done. They start heading on out. They don't turn your way because that's where the more tech stuff, the mech bays are. Off in the other direction is where the armory and lockers and whatnot are. So they're heading off that way, grumbling. 2 guys kind of following behind the one with the night vision goggles, who like takes them off and looks around. Oh, it's fine out here. Okay, and they head out, grumbling.
All right.
After a good minute or so, their echoing sounds of their voices have faded away, and you seem to be alone.
Never gonna fix what I just did so that we can see.
Okay, you stick the fuse back in and pull the wires, and lights come back on. And you
Resist the
all find
urge to
yourself
fix some other things.
wandering back into this chamber. One of you pushes over and knocks over some of the dartboards, or maybe does a little bit more carefully than that. And it isn't too long before you're finding yourselves looking at this dead-looking panel built into the side of the wall, hidden behind piles of. Well, they were just throwing beer cans and other garbage back in this corner.
It's going to look dead until the right code gets put in, just to wake it up. That I should have. So I'm going to test some of the codes that I picked up.
All right, you move up to it, and it's pretty dark. You don't really see a way to enter any codes. You try to find some buttons to press, and it's just a screen and a little dark screen with a case around it, and that's about it. You're not quite sure what to do with this. And let's see.
Does it
I'm going
need
to-
power?
Yes, it probably needs some sort of a power. Whatever was providing power to this panel doesn't seem to be providing that power anymore.
Damn.
She starts eyeing the holovid. I might be able to jury rig something.
Give it a try.
Although I do need to I'll need to crack open that case first to see if I figure out how it even works.
I pull out a laser torch and hand it over to you.
Oh, handy. Yeah, she's gonna try and get at that.
Real careful. We're not going to be able to put this back together.
I know what I'm doing, okay?
All right, so some of you might have noticed on the stream there's this little 4 boxes that appeared, and I just filled one of them in black. That's a progress bar that you don't want to have full while you're still in this room.
Oh, we're doing clock.
Yeah.
I love the
Time to
clock
pick it up.
system. Hey, it's only 1 of 4. We're fine.
Yeah, so
Famous
you
last word.
I think it's pretty likely that some of these goons are going to be wandering back over here pretty soon. Probably with some other people to say, "Hey, see, there's no light."
We want to be gone so they can look like idiots.
Right. So with that, I think it's time for Finn to get to work. Go ahead and give me probably a technician roll to crack the case open and see if you can do that without breaking anything.
Yes, that would be preferable. So that's another 2d6 plus 7 for me here.
This
Gonna
is a
make myself
roll.
useful and go play lookout.
I'm gonna spend a plot point and re-roll that because that was a 2 and a 1. So I'm gonna re-roll both of my dice.
All right, I got a 5, a 6, and a 3, so a 14 result.
Ooh.
Ooh.
I'm 1 off. I got a 14 or a 13.
One off with a 13. Okay, so that's a failure. It doesn't mean you fail, though. It just means it takes a while. So I'm
right.
gonna go ahead and fill up some more of this progress bar.
Mm.
Once I figure out how to do
Man,
that.
I am chewing through my plot points. We
Don't
start.
forget you got edge for re-rolling
Alright.
dice too.
Instead of taking 1 progress bar worth of time, you took 2. So you can actually hear the sounds of distant voices, too far to make out, but echoing through this place. It sounds like they might be coming back this way and are arguing loudly.
Shit. Oh yeah, what's the rating on this stream? How much can I curse?
As much as you want, we don't want to be flagged as kids material because then they demonetize. So.
Oh, perfect. I use them like commas.
I'll drink
so-
to that.
Okay, yeah. So with that, the device powers up, and you can see that there's some like weird symbols that you don't recognize at first, and then the screen flickers, and then it shows what looks to be like a radial menu with different numbers and symbols. This is for entering in the code. The actual interface is pretty esoteric though, so I want to see if you can figure this out in time.
This is more what I was expecting.
It shouldn't take you very long once you actually punch the code in, but if it takes you a few tries, worst thing is it locks you out for a while and you have to wait.
We don't have a while.
So yeah, you're looking at it. You pull up your data pad with your information. You're looking at this, and you think you know how to proceed. Probably. It's like knowing a combination to a combination lock without the exact instructions on how many times you're supposed to turn the dial this way or that.
Oh, great.
So.
All right, Warden. This is your game at this point. I'm taking out my laser pistol and kind of moving up to the lookout position.
All right. All right, I've got my full notes on this. Anything I could. All right, I'm going to try a plot point flashback to say that I was aware of this. I have practiced with this on a holo that I programmed based on old schematics. May not work, but I'm gonna give it a try.
And what skill attribute combination are you going with for this?
I don't have a great one for this.
Since you're doing the flashback with the time and preparation, I'll allow you to go into ×2.
Okay, I can do that. All right, let's see. Then it's gonna be crap. I'm going to burn an edge to reroll one of my dice because it's terrible.
It's kind of nice that you can re-roll individual dice instead of be stuck with rolling all of it.
It would be nice. I rolled a 1 and a 2.
Right? So that was a good idea because I ended up rolling a 9, which n times 2 plus on that gives me a 13.
Okay, so yeah, you think back to all the times you practiced, and one of those times was this particular kind of interface. I got a 6, a 3, and a 2 against you for an 11, so that was a good enough roll to bypass that, and it just takes you a few quick seconds to go beep, 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 and then there's a the bay doors start opening, and while there is some noise of machinery, it's a lot quieter than you'd expect from these giant heavy doors that are big enough to walk a Marauder through.
Oh man.
Starlight here.
Just within, it looks like there is, as the bay doors open, you can see there's a wide hall leading into darkness. And I think that's where we'll take our first break. Well, it's only a 2-hour show, so we'll take our break. You've completed the first scene as you slip into the place and the doors close behind you. Who knows if the goons will even notice the added mess to the room? But they might.
Probably not.
And we're gonna take a break.
Sounds good.
Let's call it a 10-minute break, and we'll come back. I didn't set up the break screen with a timer, so
Okay.
we'll just go with that. Thanks to all of the chat for joining us. Before we go to the break, we'll announce again, this is a charity stream. We're raising funds for World Builders. So any super chats, any donations will be passed along to World Builders, or just please go to worldbuilders.org and consider donating to them. They do a lot of great things around the world, and the money all goes to help people instead of helping out the nonprofit owners. So with that, we are going to cut to a break. Once we come back, we'll take a look at the chats, hopefully have some super chats to read, and carry on with the story.
Okay.
We'll see you on the other side of the break.
Cool.
we are back. Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for our premiere episode of our Mechwarrior Destiny actual play stream. Happy to be here. I am Clifton, also known as Mr. Johnson of the Ecology Podcast, joined by Trav as Ian Warden, Cade as John Texas Crow, Ava as Finn, and we are mid-adventure in a battle mech heist. The team has snuck through the garrison's base and accessed the as yet hidden and unknown Star League facility bay doors that the garrison bandits were using as their dartboard, basically. Having accessed the chamber using the Lost Tech interface, the doors have closed behind you just before the goons come rounding the bend and say, "See, the power's up! Oh, you dumbass! The lights are on and everything! Hey, how did that thing get... Look, the place is a mess! Yeah, you were stumbling around, knocking over everything in the dark, you dumbass!" And none of you hear this. This is all for the benefit of our viewers, so to speak. But yeah, on the other side...
And players!
It seems like you've avoided triggering alarm or suspicion by sneaking into the place, but now you are in absolute, total, and silent darkness. The only sounds you hear are your own voices. The only light is the faint glows coming off of your whatever devices you might have active. Did any of you have a flashlight or something?
I just have the torch that I gave to Finn.
A little overpowered for a light source.
Alright, so
Finn starts looking through her toolkit. Do I have a flashlight? Headlamp?
Check the low light scope on my rifle, maybe.
Yeah,
at least
that kind
enough
of
to
helps
get showing a panel.
for some looking around. You can see, there's a long hallway with these large sliding doors on either side that seem to be closed, and then the hallway goes down a ways, at least 50 meters, maybe more, and then you think it splits off into either a T-intersection or a four-way crossroads. It's starting to get pretty grainy down at that distance. And about that time, Finn, you... unless you want to spend a plot point, the only flashlight you can find is like a small sort of close-up light
pen
designed
light.
for like a pen light designed for, looking up close at things you're working on. So it'll provide some light, but not very far. It's pretty spooky here, I guess. It feels very dead and dark and quiet. There's no... You don't even feel the thrum or rumble of the power systems running from the attached base. This place is dead, and it's been dead for a very long time.
I knew I should have installed that lighter in my thumb.
I'm keeping a pretty tight grip on my pearl-handled laser pistol and being pretty jittery right now.
Okay, as you put your hand on
Finn
your
just kind of like... Oh, go on.
laser pistol, there's this sudden just flicker of light, and then you're back in darkness, now with, sort of
Spots.
seeing spots.
Damn it.
And then as you're starting to figure out what happened, the lights sort of fade gently on to a comfortable level, and now you can see the full hallway. Yeah, it does go down into... There's like a crossroads, but it goes further in. There's all these sliding doors on either side. Everything's this sort of kind of a sterile, very pale gray color. And there's various panels next to each of the doors, and you can't really tell at a glance what any of this is for, but it's big. And you're probably the first people to see these sites in centuries. Until... from around the corner, a person comes walking your way. Just directly and, well, not casually, but not with any sort of intensity. You can see, well, they're androgynous. It's hard to tell what gender they are. And they're wearing obvious uniform of some kind that Ian Warden, you recognize it as some sort of Star League era uniform. You don't recognize the designations or insignia, though. What do you do as this person approaches?
Well, definitely I've got my rifle put away. It's not, like just no weapons. This is not going to be a person. This is going to be a test.
As you think that, you see there is a little bit of a flicker here and there in the image of the person. And yeah, there's some sort of projection, but it's way more realistic looking than any holograms you've seen before.
Finn's trying to find the projectors.
You don't see any sign of them.
Huh.
Could be a light bee.
The figure stops about 3 or 4 paces in front of your group, holds out a hand, and opens their mouth to speak. But instead of words coming out, it's suddenly this distorted, and the mouth moves in stuttering ways, but then suddenly in like just blurs where there's this blur where their mouth would be, and they kind of twitch and tilt, and then stop, and then vanish. And then
Pretty
the
sure
lights,
this is the part where the lights go out.
the lights start to dim, but then shift, and now everything is bathed in red. That's probably not a good sign.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Well, partner, I'd say that if that was a test, we might have just failed.
It's corrupted. It didn't even run any checks. All right. This is a bad thing. If there are any defensive systems up, they may be live right now.
Pretty sure that's what the red light means.
So I'm going to check in with y'all. What have you got for plot points?
So
I have 3
4.
plot points.
Oh, 3.
I just realized I have 3 because that spin to reroll was edged, not a plot point.
Gotcha.
Gonna have to remember those 2.
I'm going to give
Slightly
you each
different.
a plot point for
Oh,
achieving
no.
the objective number 1.
Okay.
Thought you were about to spend one.
And then you each get a
Yeah.
plot point because I'm spending one
Crap.
to
Yeah,
have some unexpected
there-
bad
Now I have 5 plot points. Okay.
So, just a few meters in front of you, you see 2 little nubs pop down from the ceiling, and something flips out from it, and oh shit, those are turrets. They're pointing
Yep.
guns at you.
Hurts.
So, let's go into combat.
Okay.
As far as initiative goes, I'm just going to have players go first. You can go whatever order you want instead of rolling this time.
Okay. Well, since I had my laser pistol ready, I'm going to begin by targeting. Are they both side by side?
Yeah,
The
it looks like
turrets?
it on either side of the hall. And again, this hall is wide, right? You could walk a mech down this hall. So it's tall and wide.
Oh, okay.
But you're
Is
within...
there any cover?
Here, no, unless you can get one of those doors open maybe and slip into one of those rooms.
Okay. I'm going to yell out to Finn, and just yell out to Finn. See if you can get one of those doors open, and I'm gonna try to give you some covering fire, and I'll take a shot, and I'm gonna take a shot at one of the turrets.
Okay.
And that's
It's a pretty static target, so it should be pretty easy to hit.
so that is a 2 rating, a 3 attribute, so +5, and as far as range goes, I'm okay at all ranges here.
Yeah, there's 3 range
All right, so-
categories, and this is the near one, or close or near. Yeah, close would be like
There's
in
close,
melee.
near, and far.
Near would be sort of within pistol range, and far would be more rifle range. So you're within
Okay.
that near range.
So I roll a 9 plus a 5, so that's a 14. And that does 3 damage.
Normally I'd roll 2d6 plus double reflexes to defend, but this thing isn't moving, so I just rolled 2d6, giving you a difficulty of 5. You easily... Thing's not dodging, you take your shot and hit. What kind of damage does that do?
3 damage.
Okay, looks like you hit it, and it's well armored. It doesn't take it out with one shot. It looks like it might take several.
Okay.
And I'm diving for the nearest door. I'm going to try and get it open.
Okay, you see the doors are large, and they'd be hard to open manually if that's even possible, but there is a panel next to it. The panel,
panel.
It's got another one of those touch screens rather than buttons. Are you going to try to spoof it with some sort of a code trick, or pull off some other, like, crack the case and mess with the wires?
I'm more on the mechanical side of things, so we're gonna crack the case again.
Okay, well, you've
Computer's
cut one
not
of these
quite
open
what I
before, so it shouldn't take you as long. You know what you're doing. So you slice it open fairly easily, crack the case open, and oh, that's a lot of wires, and they're connected to very tiny, tiny circuits and things. Go ahead and give me a tech roll. It's going to be int plus tech, and I'm going to be rolling 4 dice against you because this is really hard.
Oh dear.
Yeah, there's already a lot
alright,
going on, and if you're fairly unfamiliar with this particular tech...
Yep. So 2d6 plus 7 is what I am rolling. Oh, come on, my dice. And I've spent my edge. I only have the one edge.
You're going to need to hit a 16 on this.
I rolled an 11.
Okay, yeah, you start working with it, and then there's a spark, and it singes your fingers, and it's not responding at this point yet. You're not quite sure. You don't think you're gonna get it open in time. These things are the barrels are turning. They're starting to take a bead, getting a lock on. And Ian Warden, what are you doing?
Ian is running across the hallway to one of the doors on the other side. He's also not aiming. He has pulled out his pistol and is shooting just to try and draw the auto fire attention. But as soon as he gets to that panel, he's going to immediately try one of the codes.
Okay, let's see here. What should we do to... This is more luck-based than anything, I would think. So let's do int plus edge, like what your edge attribute is.
Sure. Give that a try.
I'm making this up as I go, so...
So that's a 10 is my roll. 7 on the dice plus 3 for int plus edge.
We got a 6 total.
All right, that's going to be good enough. You do a code, you try another one, get a third one. You just see the barrel really pointing and holding in your position. It's just about to fire, and doors start to slide open.
Ooh,
you're not
nice.
quite in yet though. So both of the guns open fire. They're loaded with some sort of laser weapons. So there's a bit of a quick flash as the beams pulse out at each of you. One of them is targeting John Texas Crow, and the other one is targeting Ian Warden. So give me a defense roll, each of you. It's 2d6 plus double your reflexes. I'll be rolling 2d6 plus 5 for their attack.
So I got 8 on the die plus 4, so 12.
I got 8. It's reflex, twice reflex. Yep. So I got 7 plus 6, so that's 13.
All right, I got a 5 and a 5 plus 5 is 15 on Ian Warden. So you get the door open, but you're hit with a laser blast for 4 points of damage. What kind of armor do you have?
Ballistic armor, so it's not going to do any good for that.
So that would reduce damage from ballistic weapons, but not energy
it's
weapons.
flak armor, yeah, -2 from ballistics, but it should still burn from that. So
yeah, so part of your armor is kind of glowing where you just got hit, and some pieces of it are falling away. John, Texas Crow, I rolled a 1 and a 2, so +5 is 8 against you. You rolled higher than that, so you were able to kind of duck and dodge as the lasers pulse in your direction, trying to bore a hole through you. With
Not
that,
today, turret.
comes around to players' turns. You can go in whatever order you want.
Okay, so we have a door open now, right? We have
It has been opening, and now it is finally open. It is dark within, but some lights are starting to turn on in succession. It
Now,
looks
are
like-
these doors big? Are they mech big?
Possibly, yeah. You're not sure if that's what they're designed for, but they're big enough where, I mean, some mechs might have to hunch down, but yeah, these
Like
are
big
large.
stores stay big, right?
Yeah, this is all large scale here.
Okay, in my mind, there is better than here. So, can
Well,
I reach there? Go ahead.
No, go on.
Can I reach there with one movement?
Yeah, every
and get out of the-
turn you get a movement and a narration. The reason why I didn't let Ian
Okay.
Warden move into the room before he got shot was the door had to open first. So I think
Okay.
that happened in between turns here. But yeah, you can
Okay.
take a single movement to run in there if you want. That should break line of sight to the turrets. Would you like to do
That's
that?
what I'll do. I'm gonna run straight in and look for any cover I can find and try to get behind something
Okay.
and get my bearings in the room.
Yeah, running in, there's a whole bunch of things around, big machinery stuff, stairs going up along one side with a catwalk, a lot to take in. But you can take cover. Do you want to take a stealth to hide really well, or perception to get your bearings, or some other roll, or just
How about
stick with the
perception to get bearings? How about I do
Okay.
that?
Go ahead and give me a perception roll then.
And perception is what?
I think it's int.
Okay,
Yes.
11.
All right, rolling a fairly simple test against you. That beats my roll. So you take a lot in at once. There's a lot to see. One of the things you're aware of is this goes deeper. It's not just like a side room or bay. It goes further in, presumably to some other chambers. And there's a lot. It's like an industrial tunnel of some kind with a rail system that terminates here. You don't see whatever the rail system would operate, and everything looks like it hasn't been touched in centuries, as far as you can tell. But there, you can see that there is a room that is probably some sort of a control room for whatever area this is. That seems like a good place to go and take cover. You can dive in there. Otherwise, there's plenty of stuff to take hard cover behind if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going in that control room if I can get there.
Okay, you get into the control room, and it is as you expect. There's some sort of big old panel that it is a bit odd. You don't see a lot of buttons and dials and levers. It's like one big flat touch screen. And
Guys, get in here.
There's one chair in here that's got kind of this sort of scooped look to it. Everything is here is kind of
Okay.
this sort of a, yeah, if you want to think like maybe Star Trek The Next Generation sci-fi feel, but even more sterile than that.
Okay. The SpaceX Dragon capsule. Kind of.
There you go.
Yep. Finn,
Alright.
at his call, and also the turrets firing, she just like darts in the door, doesn't even pause to look around at that first room, and just goes immediately following Texas.
Okay, so you
That's
run
John,
across,
Texas.
you run across the wide hall, through the open door, past Ian Warden, and the turrets trying to track the movement. And you break their line of sight as you
Yeah,
run
well, I'm
into that,
fast, so good luck.
and up the stairs to the right through the door, and yeah, there's that weird control room thing with it seems like half of the room is windows, and then the rest is just this chair and this big panel thing. It's got all these different different colors of squares with glowing points on them, and so much text.
Okay.
And
She's gonna immediately take a seat and try to figure out how everything works. Computers aren't my bag, but I can make do. I'm smart.
all right, do you have a computer skill?
No, she doesn't. I'm
Okay.
regretting that choice.
All right, so you sit down and try to make sense of it. It's a lot to take in, and it's definitely a lot less tactile than you're used to as far as interfaces go. But go
She's
ahead
got
and give
3
me a roll.
int.
Yep. So 2d6 plus 3.
All right, let's see how good we can do. 10.
I got a 10 against you. I'm going to give you the tie. I'm not
Yay.
sure if I'm supposed to or not, but I'm not going to look it up either. So, so yeah, you start moving things around and pressing things, and you realize you could do a few things from here. Well, there's an active security alert. You could deactivate that if you want. You could also call the tram, or you could open the storage lockers. You're
No,
not
we're gonna
quite
hit
sure
that
where those are.
cancel. Yeah, no, we're gonna hit the cancel on the security alert. That's the most pressing issue.
All right, you hit cancel on the security alert, and while you can kind of understand what the words are enough to know what they are, they're a bit off. Like, some of the characters seem strange. Like, it'd be us, looking at Middle English. Well, maybe not quite that bad. Like, where the S's are F's, and there's a few, just esoteric aspects of how the language is displayed that it's a bit off-putting, but you're able to figure it out and tap the things and slide that over, and the security alert is asking for an access code to deactivate it, but Ian Warden kind of hops up there
Warden,
and says,
get in
I know
here!"
what to do with this, and you're getting used to it enough to it now where you can see that little rotary alphanumeric interface, and you know what the security code is on your thing, and you put that in, and the reddish glow coming from the hallway fades and comes back on to a more pleasant off-white.
Can we maybe not trip the security system this time?
Yeah, about that. I'm going to actually spend one of the plot points you gave me, and I'm going to, since this is a control room and it's got access to security, I'm betting that somewhere in this room there's a locker full of security passes, and in this place it's probably IFF. If you're wearing the right level pass, there's no security concerns. And I'm going to go and find some of those.
It seems like you're going to go with a protocol roll for this.
That is my hope.
That sounds appropriate to me, so yeah, go ahead.
Oh, good roll on the dice. 10 plus 4 from my protocol skill and charisma. 14.
That's the way we roll.
Nice.
This is fairly well-guarded information, so I'm rolling 3 dice against you.
All right.
But I rolled a 1, a 2, and a 1, so you're like, oh, bloop, bloop, bloop. Tap that, and yep. Everyone just smile. You're not quite sure where the cameras are, but they should pick you up and detect you. And then, yeah, this drawer slides open out of the wall where it looked like it was just smooth wall, and there are a number of passes there. A lot of them, there's sort of these little clear plasteel chits with some sort of circuitry or symbols engraved in them, and there's just rows of them in this drawer, but 3 of them are glowing with a soft pulsing green.
All right. And I will hand these out and say, all right, you're slapping these here. They stay visible. Make sure you're wearing yours.
You look them over like, how do I just kind of put it on your clothing, and it just stays
Slap it
there.
on. Yep.
All
Not
right.
quite sure what it's doing, but it's there. If you go to pull it off, you have to kind of pull it a little bit, and then it releases. And you just stick it back on. It's not really sticky. There's no adhesive. It's Star League.
What?
Star League.
Pokes at it. What is that? That's like a really handy substance?
John Texas is turning his over and wondering if it would make a good guitar pick.
So
Got that.
yeah, suddenly the androgynous figure is in the room with you, turns over, and its
What?
mouth blurs, and there's this, and then it flickers and it disappears.
Oh boy. That thing could be
Does this feel like we're in a horror vid to anybody else?
I don't know, I watch horror vids. Alright. Alright.
You're missing out.
Clearly, yes. Alright. This place is actually a lot bigger than I was expecting.
You're realizing, though, from this control panel, you should be able to access a lot of different functions or even information, as long as things keep running as they should.
Let's try for a map.
That would be handy.
All right, go ahead and give me a computer
Yeah,
roll
that's a
then
great
to
idea.
operate the panel.
Oh no, I don't have computers.
I could work my magic again, I think.
Well, it'd
Unless
be a
somebody's
fairly simple roll, so
smarter
I'm just
than
rolling
me.
2 dice against you. But yeah, if you don't have the skill, you're just defaulting by adding your int.
Alright.
Alrighty. 2D. Oh, wait. You're doing this?
Well, let me put it this way. You've got more experience with computers, but I've got more experience with these interfaces. So I'm going to do a help roll for you, is what I'm going to do.
Hey!
I just rolled an 8 on the die, and I add 2. So that's a 10 for me. Hopefully that'd be enough to give you another plus.
Let's see here. How does the help rule work? I'm going to look it up quick. I've not
Yeah.
played this game much.
Let's see. I've got it pulled open here.
You know, I'm not even sure where to look, so what we're going to do is have you add your int to her roll. So she's adding
You can add
rolling
2.
2d6, adding her int and your int.
Ooh, for an extra. You said yours is 2? Alright. So, 2d6 plus 5 for my computer's test this time with his help. 6 and a 4 plus 15.
All right, you're
So
glitching out a bit
15.
like the hologram there, but that 15 definitely beats my
Dang
8.
it. There it goes. Okay.
And yeah, you find yourselves with a holographic map display, and so like, whoa, you
Aha!
sort of reach out, and as you touch it, it actually moves and responds, sort of zooms in. It only takes you a few gestures, so intuitive the interface is, to figure out how you can zoom in and out and, you know, spin or turn the orientation. And there's 3 little dots that are pulsing green, marking your positions. And yeah, this place is probably about 5 or 6 times the size of the part of the base that the garrison knew about. There's lots of different chambers. There's a lot of different designations on them, but the data is just scrambled a bit. There's a few where you can tell what one thing or another says. It seems like there's a variety of storage items. There's a tram system that goes all around and through these various different locations. There's something about mining apparatus, and but most of it is fairly hard to determine. It seems like there's a lot of storage areas, but also some kind of unknown machinery that it's hard to guess what its function is. There is a fusion reactor at the heart of this place, but it's currently running at like 0.1% of its normal output, just at maintenance levels to keep things running. And
I could probably power it on again.
other than that, you can tell that there are, like, just by the layout here, you're fairly certain that you can point to at least 2 locations that look like they might be mech bays.
All right. I'd say Alpha and Beta here are the ones we really want to get to. I mean, we want to get to all of it if we can, and we definitely don't want to leave this in the hands of that jackhole ham and cheese.
That's exactly what I was thinking. If Hammond gets a hold of this, he can. This can't get to him.
No.
I mean, we would have to light this thing up before he can get it.
Yeah, I really don't want to do that.
Yeah, looking it over, Finn, you might be thinking, you're not sure if they could. This place, this place is built to last using technology that has been lost to humanity. You don't know if you'd be able to wreck it other than maybe setting off the fusion core, which would definitely endanger the nearby town.
Yeah.
Not doing that. That's not even an option.
Let's not do that. On the other hand, if we could get, well, if we get the right group of people in here, this could turn the entire planet around.
Mm-hmm. If we can get in once, that means we can get in again. I say we get the mech that we came for, we get our mechs, and we do something about all this.
Is there a back way out of this facility for a mech?
Like, yeah, that's what she starts looking for, is like other exits that like haven't been found, obviously. But other than the one we came in, she starts looking over the map and kind of doing.
Yeah, looking over the map.
She doesn't have navigation, but she's got tracking.
You do see what looks like another exit, which, like, from your knowledge of the area, that would be further into the mountain. So maybe there's a cave or tunnel system or something?
That would work.
It's an option.
Okay. Let's call a tram and head to, let's just call it Mech Bay Alpha here. Start somewhere.
Okay, you're familiar enough, and things are working enough to where you're able to pull up the tram commands without further test. And the tram, you hear sort of a worrying sound as this tram, which is essentially a platform large enough for a party of up to about a dozen people to stand in the center or sit along the seats around the side. Just it's essentially like a square or rectangle, just slides along and slows and stops at the terminus. The hologram appears and says, "Ham and cheese," and disappears.
That's vaguely concerning.
No, I think that's a good sign. It's listening to, well, us communicate. I don't think it speaks or knows our language. So it's learning our language. Or at least mimicking it.
Maybe it's running a diagnostic in the background to fix the corruption in the system too, because that looks like a corrupted AI to me. Or not AI, maybe SI, simulated intelligence.
Maybe? Software isn't my thing. Computers aren't really what I'm good at. I mean, I can manage. She kind of gestures to like the table, this control panel.
Yeah.
I can manage.
Okay. I'd say let's security first. If we're leaving this room, let's lock this panel. Like, screen lock it, Someone comes in behind us, let's make them use a code to get it back open.
Doubt any of those idiots will even realize there's a door there.
We'll call another, it's gonna be 3 dice against you for a, we'll do the teamwork thing again, so it's double int.
So.
I also just realized that I have a +1 bonus for anything tech related outside of combat. I just realized I have the tech empathy trait. That's her positive trait. I was like,
oh, nice.
I get a +1 on almost all of my rolls I've been doing tonight, and I haven't been figuring that in.
I rolled a 1, a 6, and a 1 against you, so pretty good odds for you, I think.
All right, so rolling my 2d6 plus
your int plus Ian's int +1.
My int and his. Yes, +1. I literally was just talking about that and still forgot to include it. All right, 2d6 plus 6. I rolled a 2 and a 2, but +6 is 10.
Yeah, you couldn't have failed that roll unless you rolled a Snake Eyes, in which case, it's just because Snake Eyes always fails. You're able to, boop, boop,
I got
lock
very
it down.
close.
You could even set your own, login and password if you want.
It's good.
Ooh, yes. Let's create a user.
Once you hop on the tram, it slides along and goes for a ways. You realize you hadn't imagined the scope of the map completely well, just based on how big this is and how long it takes for the ride. And when it stops, where were you going? A lot of potential destinations to pick. Are you just exploring and wandering through, seeing the sights, or did you pick one of the spots to check out?
I think we picked the first of the 2 mech bays, or at least the places we think are mech bays.
Yeah, when it pulls up to a stop, there's this larger chamber where you can see there's various different... It looks like this place looks a bit more industrial than the rest of it because you can identify what looks like sort of larger equipment that must be designed for... You've seen something like it before for higher end mech tech stuff, even though you don't quite know what they do. If you went near it, the text told you not to touch. Finn would not have encountered this sort of thing on this planet, but just beyond it though is this large, just what looks to you, this has got to be a mech bay door. There's got to be a mech behind this, and you go on up and tap in the codes and try a couple different ones, and it lights up green, and the doors start to slide open, and they start out like they're a little stuck, and then start to open, but open fairly slowly. As it starts to open, you hear a voice right behind you, trying to communicate with us. You turn around, and the thing is there. It looks at you and looks over at Finn and says, "I do speak your language. I speak many languages. I've just been asleep for a very long time. Thank you very much. Also, not everything is functioning at optimal levels. I've been trying to tell you that I activated a security drone. It's gone into it's going into full defense protocols, which means it's no longer active and connected to our systems.
Are you serious?
That means I can't turn it off remotely.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah, I know what that means.
I'll update your map with its current... Oh, no. I can't. I'm sorry. Most of the sensors
you're
are still
great
coming
host.
online.
Anything else?
Do you have any? You have any suggestions for us? Now that you sent the killer robot after us.
It sort of looks over at you a bit, apparently blankly for a while. Well, you might try shooting it. However, it is well armed. And
Is
as
there
you-
a mech?
Better armed?
You're a tchunk as the door bays have opened behind you. Finished opening behind you as you turned around. You turn around to look, and just as the lights come on in the chamber, and it is indeed a mech bay. And standing there, with various different, I don't want to call it scaffolding, but supports, as you often do if you're going to store a mech for a really long period of time, is the most brand new looking mech that any of you have ever seen. It's the unmistakable, iconic, and threatening profile of the Marauder heavy mech.
That's better armed.
Finn's
I
just
have a
gonna kind of
suggestion.
gawk for a moment. Her knowledge skill that she has is mech manufacturers. She's gonna kind of... She's into mechs, okay.
Yeah, you've never seen a mech like this before. I mean, you know what a Marauder looks like. Anyone who knows anything
Right.
about mechs would recognize that profile in an instant. But, it's just shiny and smooth and brand new. All of the parts are original, and you're not sure if this thing has ever been used before.
Yeah, but it's a heavy.
But from a quick glance, you realize there's a problem with the idea of using this to survive the security drone robot thing. This thing's fusion engine is all the way off.
Frag.
It's going to take probably hours to bring it back online. And that's rushing it. And you're going to have to be careful if you do it that way. Ideally, it would take days or perhaps even a week to do the full cycles with the diagnostics.
That not ideal.
And let's see.
Why has it got to be a heavy?
Why has it got to be a killer robot?
John Texas Crow, give me a perception test.
8.
Okay, yeah, that's not very good. You do not notice the whirring of another tram cart coming this way into the mech bay until you sort of all turn and at the digitized sound of security threat, exterminate, and turn and look and see, like standing on the mech tram or not the mech tram, on the tram cart in the middle of it is this two-legged mech-looking thing. Like, granted, it's only about a meter and a half tall, but it's got this hunched-over form, almost reminiscent of a Marauder, but more bulbous toward the front. And each one of its arms ends in some sort of a rotary weapon that are starting to spin as it's turning your direction.
Oh, for fuck's sake!
So those of you who have seen the classic film RoboCop, I mean, the ED-209 is kind of what I'm thinking of here as far as inspiration for this security drone.
How about we run?
It's a good idea.
All right, as the combat drone rolls in and prepares to open fire, let's do a quick initiative roll. We're going to do one roll for this. Whoever's got the highest tactics skill,
I got a 2.
give me a tactics roll, and I'm going to roll 3 dice against you for this thing.
Oh, crap.
Ah, Finn apparently does not know tactics.
6 plus 4 is a 10.
I rolled a 2, a 1, and a 3, so you do get to react before this does. It takes some time to spin up those barrels and get a beat on you.
Scatter. Get to cover.
Fortunately for you, there's lots of potential cover here, pretty heavy cover. So a movement gets you to cover. Are you going full cover or just taking a sort of a partial cover position where you can still see or take a shot?
Let's start with hard cover and see where it starts firing.
Okay.
I'll go partial cover and see if I can shoot at it.
All right. You go into...
Full cover here.
All right, sounds like the only person taking a shot is John Texas Crow.
I tell you what, instead of a shot, could I instead just look and maybe try a perception roll or something to see if I can detect a weak spot or anything that might give us an advantage over this thing?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm going to call, if you're doing perception, it's not the most appropriate skill for this. If you had a technician, that would be even better. But
I don't have that.
But for doing perception, then I'm going to roll 4 dice against you.
Okay. Well, here we go.
Because it's a heavy combat security drone thing, so.
Well, I rolled an 8 plus 1 is 9. So let's see if you could beat that.
I rolled like a 2 5s, a 6, and a 3. So yeah, you look at this thing, it's like, it does not look like it has any weak spots. That thing looks
Guys,
like a heavy combat threat.
We're all gonna die.
And it then begins to open fire, and it's using some sort of like it's firing bullets rather than lasers from its Gatling shots, but there is a little a laser thing that pops out the top of it. It opens fire as well. So it's currently just chewing up the cover that Finn and Ian Warden are taking cover behind, and the little laser thing is taking a little pulsing shot at John Texas Crow, who's behind cover. Somebody give it a -2 to shoot at you from the cover. Go ahead and roll 2d6 plus double reflexes to avoid getting shot.
All of us?
No, just
All right,
John Texas Crow.
All right.
Okay, I rolled an 11 plus 6, 17.
All right.
I feel pretty good about that.
I rolled an 8 plus 6, so 14. You duck back as the laser blast just sizzles the wall behind you, just causing a scorch mark there. You're glad that wasn't you.
Uh-huh.
All right, and
These,
we're at 10 o'clock. If you guys are cool with finishing out the combat here, that'd be fine with me. If we can leave it on a cliffhanger, that's cool with me too. What do y'all think?
I'm happy either way.
I'm good with either.
I'd say cliffhangers are fun, actually.
You know, that's kind of where I'm
Cliffhangers
leaning
are
as well. Leaving things in the middle of things with the cliffhanger, big old security drone. You found a badass brand new Marauder that's just waiting to be claimed. If you can only survive this military grade threat without your battle mechs. Or find some other way to deal with it maybe, but we'll see how that goes.
Uh-huh.
And I'm going to fade out the scary combat music and go with something a little bit more calming. There we go. This is my
Send us into election coverage with something calming, Cliff.
You do have to bring that up, don't you? Oh goodness! I figured there's no results until tomorrow. I don't even think I'm gonna look. But whew, this was fun. I hope you had fun, enjoyed yourselves. I really enjoyed your characters. Taking a look at the chat here. Let me get caught up on that. A lot to look at here. So let's see. We had one super chat from James Palmer. Thank you, James Palmer, for donating to the charity World Builders via us. So if any of you want to donate after the stream, or if you're watching this video on YouTube, you can't join the super chats. Sorry, that's a live thing. But you can still donate to World Builders. Just go to worldbuilders.org, WORLDBUILDERS. Oh, it's on the screen. I don't have to spell it out. It's over there, that way. Yes. So we made it to the end of the episode. All right, looking at the chats. Yeah, music going in and out. Hopefully that's stabilized, but oh well. I'll have to hear it on the other end. Maybe it's some sort of coding thing over the interwebs.
There was no further complaint about it once you did whatever you did.
Yep.
Cool.
I think they would have said something.
It was probably that pesky noise reduction filter that somehow got on my audio output capture within OBS. Cool.
That
So
could very well be.
we've played some just general mock combats here and there, getting used to the system. But now that we've actually started playing the game for real, what do you all think so far?
I'm loving it.
I think it's a good push on the Q system.
Yeah, it's fun and quick to play, and I'll say this: I think that our characters are, for the most part, pretty survivable. I had some. I think they make this. I think they slant this system towards the characters a little bit more than some other systems that are out there.
Someone said you were supposed to yell Kerensky at the AI.
Yeah.
It'll happen next time.
Central to Star League life is Kerensky, everything. Just everything.
Yeah, I hope you're
right.
getting the Star League lore right. I'm kind of I'm fairly well versed in BattleTech to the sense where I've read a lot of the books and I've been into it to some degree for many years, but I've never really been super deep into it. So I figure the Star League stuff should be mysterious and high tech and do some weird things that you're not expecting. I think there's plenty of room for interpretation there, but that's what I decided to go with for that aesthetic.
Lost Tech
like
is
it.
one of my favorite tropes.
Well, that's it's a
Mhm.
core
The whole
trope of BattleTech.
super advanced past civil. It's one of my favorite tropes, whether in fantasy or science fiction. It's just a great trope.
That's the Star League all over.
Yeah, and the Star League, as we established in the lore of this planet, which we completely made up. Also, I didn't mention the planet's name. Did we come up with a name for the planet? We came up with a name for the town of Medgar's Folly.
Right.
I don't think we named the planet.
I was trying to look through notes. So, yeah, those of you who are viewing here as we hang out in the chat in the after show, let's come up with a name for this backwater periphery planet that was originally going to be terraformed into a nice place, but something went horribly wrong with the terraforming and the project was scrapped. Who knows when or why or exactly how, because it was before the fall of the Star League and nobody kept good notes about that time, or those notes haven't survived. Yeah, what are the people in the chat? I think Dash is their name. Was saying it's a lot more interesting if you make up the Star League stuff because it was high tech and the clans didn't go away with nor keep all of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. I'm glad I'm well within the lore. We picked the periphery in no small part because it lets me dodge as much of the canon as possible. So I'm not going to be stepping on the toes there or messing things up. It's been a long time since I've read most of those BattleTech books. But
Best way to do it.
One thing that's been fun is this is the first time I ever run a GM to stream of a published game product that I wrote in, because I have a writing credit in this book, which I'm just thrilled about. Philip Lee, who was the head person for this, I forget the title, but the lead for the project, just offered me the chance to do some writing in it. Needed some of the pre-gen player characters written up, so I got to write up a whole bunch of those, and I had a lot of fun with them. One of them that I made up, that I'm probably most proud of, is the Pirate Queen, Cass Crandall, who refers to her machine gun as a sidearm. or the aerospace fighter pilot whose last name is Antilles.
Antilles.
I can't believe they let me get away with that.
You did sneak that one in, apparently. That is one thing about Mechwarrior Destiny that you don't see with some versions of Mechwarrior in the past. This one doesn't focus specifically on your character being a Mechwarrior. You can also, as he's pointing out, play an aerospace pilot, a vehicle pilot, even like a spy or an agent who doesn't pilot anything.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see like how a discipline scenario would work, where there's a ground combat going on and dog fights in the sky and maybe some sort of infantry fight or raid while there's tense negotiations going on, or somebody's trying to pull off a hack at the same time to transfer the data. All happening at once, and you're just kind of bouncing around the different people as you move around the queue. That's probably not somewhere we're going to go with this one. We decided to keep it simple with this campaign. Everyone's a mech pilot. So
of course, what you're here to do is play in big giant robots.
Yeah, and I'm not going to stretch it too far. But I also, one of the things I did like about the system is I'm used to Anarchy, which is also a queue system. Shadowrun based. I really love that. Just feeling the flexibility to make up rules calls as we go without feeling like I'm messing things up or doing something that's going to break the game. I just feel like incumbent in this sort of game is the concept that you just roll with it and move on and tell a story. So I felt pretty free to do that. I've been enjoying running the system so far as a GM. And I look forward to seeing where it goes. And we're going to be back in 2 weeks at the same time, so 9 to 11 Eastern, Tuesday, November 17th, if I mathed correctly. And then either 2 weeks or 1 week after that. I don't think we've decided yet. But yeah, check us out in 2 weeks for the next episode. Feel free to rewatch this. Donate to worldbuilders.org. And thanks so much, everyone, for joining us. It was great to have a lively chat, hanging out with us. Some new faces and some familiar faces. Well, names in the chat, I guess. They're not really faces. Some of them are little tiny circles.
Well, this was fun. I'm glad we got to do this, and I look forward to doing it again soon. So,
Oh yeah.
and I hope the killer robot doesn't take me down. So,
Yeah, I decided to make it really scary, so we'll find out.
Chat, David Chat says, how about Ferris Prime as a planet name?
There we go, Ferris Prime.
Ferris Prime.
There it
We
is.
are now on Ferris Prime.
I was trying to think of, like, when I was trying to think of a planet name earlier, I was going to try to make up something that sounded like really green and verdant and lovely and beautiful, like Eden or something like that. But everything I came up with, I'm
Eden
like,
Prime.
there's got to be like a planet in BattleTech with this name already. But then also looking at back, I mean, it's not like there's any like planet naming convention where they go around and sue other planets if they have the same name. So
Probably got a Starlink designation
right.
as a
Yes.
terraforming project, but yeah, what do we call it now? Ferris Prime.
Yep. Also has the nickname of Ferret Prime to some people, I guess. But
That's the planetary
Well-
mascot right there.
Well, just so you know, Eden is the location of the habitable world, Eden 1, and is located in the deep periphery region known as the Clan home worlds. So
okay,
there is
that
an
was
Eden.
taken. We don't want to piss off the clans. I mean,
Not
we'll
yet.
beat the game 30
Who are-
years before
the
they
who?
show up. So right. So we don't have to
Yeah,
worry
who
about
knows?
clans either.
The what?
But I think we're gonna call it a night. Before we go, does anyone have something they'd like to plug or promote? Trav, you do, right? You did it
The,
earlier, but you should say
yeah.
something again, especially since Riri is here in the room with us.
Hopefully still here. Yeah, one more time we'll mention starting midnight on Friday and running all through Saturday, 24-hour Shadowrun stream over on Raritan's Twitch. Watch either my Twitter at TWFarland or find Raritan on Twitter, and you can find the link there. It's going to be benefiting Extra Life. We're already halfway to our goal just from session 0. We've had some,
Wow.
we had some two big donations come in, and there's a challenge out there from one of those donators who says that if someone beats his $100 donation, he will double what you put in. So, challenge accepted, people? Let's find out, shall we?
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cade, how about you?
The only thing I have to promote is sanity, mental health, wellness. Take care of yourselves.
Yeah, good advice. Thank you. And hopefully that can be a thing that prevails.
Let's hope.
All right, and Ava Rogers, what would you like to promote before we
Yep.
go?
I could plug my other streams again. You can catch me Monday nights right now on twitch.tv/masterofrem. That's REM, on a Dresden Files game with a new system that was just released. Cortex Prime? Cortex something.
Cortex Prime.
I'm learning the system as well. All right. And alternating Tuesdays from this over on twitch.tv/LucasG Variety for a Dungeon World game. And every other Thursday, but I can't remember which Thursday, also on LucasG Variety for the D&D 5e stream. Or just follow me on Twitter because I link them sometimes when I remember at that nerdy writer.
Awesome, thank you. Let's see, stuff I've got going on. I'm just going to keep it brief with the Arcology Podcast is a podcast about Shadowrun. We've got like hundreds of hours of episodes out there now. 5th edition, 6th edition, Anarchy, Also, the longest running Shadowrun actual play in existence, as far as I know. I'd be
In the
happy-
history of the world.
Yeah, I'd be happy to be proven wrong, but I think we've got it. It's been going a long time, and it's still going on. And so yeah, check that out, Arcology Podcast, wherever you find podcasts. Also, do an Earth Dawn actual play podcast, Legends of Earth Dawn. And, oh yeah, now that I've run a Mechwarrior Destiny, I've got like all three of the classic FASA trifecta right there that I've put out there in the world as actual plays. I feel a sense of completion from that. One more thing, I'm
Wow.
also the musician Prism Shard. I make music, I post it on the internet for people to download and use freely with Creative Commons because I hate the copyright system. All of the music you've heard tonight in the soundtrack has been composed by Prism Shard. That's me. And you can go download it or listen to it at soundcloud.com/Prism Shard. There's a dash between Prism and Shard in that. But with that, we'll say goodnight and thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.